All right, good morning and welcome everybody. Jim Soboleski here with SAP. So myself and Anurag today will be talking about SAP, our program of RISE, and delivering ERP as a cloud service via GCP and what we're doing. So let me do introductions here in a second, but here's our agenda. So first and foremost, how many people in the room have heard the word RISE from SAP? Oh, that's good. That's good. So we're gonna demystify it a little bit. It's not a product and what it is and what it actually means, and then more importantly, how we work it with Google Cloud and what we're doing. And this is my first time at Google Next, and I thought SAP had a lot of acronyms for things. I think we've been a little bit outdone here in terms of what we're going. So we'll talk about what RISE is. We'll talk about RISE with the Google Cloud. We have a couple selected customer stories. We even have a partner up here that will talk about a selected story. Then we got some key takeaways, and then as always, some time for Q&A. So,
okay, good morning everybody, and really appreciate your coming here this early in the morning. Hopefully we'll keep you awake and stimulated. So my name is Anurag Barua, and I've been in the SAP ecosystem for almost 25 years, and during this time I have worked across multiple industries and helped or partnered with over 100 companies in their various business and digital transformation journeys. I often present as a RISE ambassador, and currently I work for the North America S/4HANA Center of Excellence. My areas of expertise, as you can, I'm not going to read from there, straddles a lot of different lines of businesses as well as technologies, and these days a lot of my time goes into our cloud technologies. And last but not the least, I do a lot of thought leadership, and I've written 5 SAP books, spoken at over 100 conferences, and also I've written a lot of white papers and articles. And over to Jim for his intro.
I should have gone first because I haven't written 5 books. But so again, good morning, Jim Soboleski. So 20 years at SAP in various roles. Started out in consulting, PLM and manufacturing through the ranks. Even for a period of time, wore a sales hat, but got out of that quickly. But for the last 2.5 years, I've been the leader of our S/4HANA Center of Excellence. So what does that mean? So it's a sales support role. It's a consulting role. We're not quota carrying, but we are myopically focused on helping our customers get to ERP delivered as a cloud service, be it public or private, how we're doing it. And then in particular, I have a team that specifically focuses on what we call our legacy on-premise customers. We still have close to 1,000 ECC, the former version of SAP, ECC customers in North America that we are helping to transform to S/4HANA and transform to the cloud. So actively busy. I manage a team across all of North America, and it's a pleasure to talk to you. And again, I'll be here for questions afterwards, because I think you get the next, right?
All right, let's start with an introduction to RISE with SAP. Before I do that, I want to set the context, right? So why should you care? What gives, pun unintended, rise to RISE, right? What are some of the factors? Well, let's look at what we have gone through in the last few years, right? It's been a time of tremendous change, right? Both at the macro as well as the micro level. And it has been exacerbated by the pandemic, right? Can you name one company that hasn't had to be very agile, very nimble, suffered from supply chain disruptions, right? Had to pivot to newer business models, right? So all of these have become the norm these days. On top of that, over the past few years, organizations, and I can't think of a single organization that has not had this problem, have accumulated a huge load of technical debt. And what do I mean by that? Is that there's all kinds of applications companies have kind of patched together, right? Disparate systems that don't talk too well to each other with point-to-point integrations, and the data is not managed in the right way, therefore leading to difficulty in decision-making. So all those kinds of things have led to what we call technical debt, because companies have been forced to make these legacy systems work. And for that, they have had to create a lot of customizations, right? And would it not be wonderful if you could transform this debt into technical wealth, right? And you could do that. And RISE is one of the ways, we'll talk about it, by which you can move from an era of technical debt to technical wealth based on a very modern cloud-based architecture that's scalable, that's resilient, that's extensible, that's modular, etc. Let's talk about one macro trend, right? Companies worldwide, right, they have lots of important projects that they want to take on. But the rising cost of capital, last few quarters, right, we have seen the Federal Reserve raising interest rates repeatedly, right? So is it getting any cheaper? No. So you want economical ways to be able to carry out these important projects, right? And with the capabilities we provide with RISE, you'll be able to do that because this is really all about a cloud transformation. Let's talk about labor markets. Today's workforce is not interested. Those of you who are on SAP, possibly ECC, how many of you here on SAP ECC, right? A few, but even if you're on S4HANA on-premise, your workforce today, right, likes to work on exciting stuff, right? Those old gray screens from SAP, right? The way transaction codes, all those kinds of things. That's not what today's worker wants, right? They want to be more intelligent, right? Work more intelligently, more efficiently. And also, labor markets are tight, right? So what does that mean? We provide a world-class platform and capabilities. We'll talk about our business technology platform, right? We also have where innovation, intelligence, all of this is built in. We also have low-code, no-code ways by which you can easily realize your business needs. And last but not the least, you are probably under a lot of pressure from both your internal stakeholders as well as external stakeholders to meet your commitments, your obligations to make this a more sustainable planet, right? A greener planet. So if the answer to all of these questions, or if you have encountered all of what I said, then you're ready for RISE with SAP. Did you want to add anything?
Well, I was just going to add, we've all heard these pressures, economic trends, and going forward. What I like to talk about these things is what are the unique things or the innovation things that SAP brings to it, and just sustainability. So think about going forward, merging your ESG credits with your financial ledger and putting financial monetary amounts to your green ledger, to your carbon emissions, everything else is exactly the difference between bringing a business solution and marrying it with some of the Google AI functionalities that we're coming out with.
Thank you, Jim. So let's move to the next component here. So what exactly is RISE, right? You've probably heard the term, it has come up in many discussions, but it's a package. Right? It's a comprehensive offering consisting of, number one, our ERP software, which is S4HANA Cloud, industry best practices and standards, and outcome-driven services for companies to be able to run all their business processes in the cloud. So it's a combination of, it's a comprehensive offering. And so it's not one product. The reason I lay these out in this manner is these are some of the common questions we get from our customers. They sometimes feel that, RISE is one thing, one software, or one application. No, it's a combination of things, products, services. It is transformative, right? So when you're thinking about RISE, we encourage our customers not to take the lift and shift mentality. A good analogy is, let's say you have been living in the same house for the last, 10, 15 years. Over time, you have accumulated a lot of junk that lies in the basement and other corners of the room. Would you really want to carry all of those things to a brand new house, custom-built house, right? Would you not want to leverage all the wonders, all the beautiful things that you have in your house, right? So, therefore, this is more of the transformation that you should think about, not, we're just going to move our on-prem stuff to the cloud. That should not be the approach, because if that's the approach, then you're not going to be able to get a big return on investment. It is 100% cloud. RISE is 100% cloud. Why is that important? Because once in a while, customer is going to ask us, oh, you know what, this is great, but we would like to just stay with our ECC or S/4HANA on-prem system. Well, the answer is that's not RISE. RISE is about a cloud transformation. We want customers to be able to take advantage of all the things that we offer when you move to the cloud, right? So the on-prem component is simply not part of the overall RISE.
Let me say something on that too. So just to make it clear, RISE is not just about getting SAP in the cloud. This is not our program just to take our ERP system and put it in the cloud. RISE, as Anurag is going to show in a future slide, is I'll call it a concierge service to help customers adopt the cloud holistically, because it's more than just ERP in the cloud. It's using cloud services for innovation and technology disruptors. It's more than just hosting it on a hyperscaler. It's about having elasticity. It's about having flexibility. All those things have nothing to do with ERP. They have to do with delivering in a cloud mentality and what we're doing. So as Anurag goes through this, we'll show you some of the process analyses that we'll go through to help you remove some of the technical debt. We'll show you some of the things to help you understand what it's like to be a cloud adopter, to be a cloud mentality, more than just having it hosted, sitting in there and getting all those cloud benefits, and then ultimately, you like to use the phrase, delivering ERP as a cloud service as part of your ecosystem.
Thanks, Jim. And last but not the least, it is a name, it's not an acronym. I've started some presentations in the past by asking this so-called trick question, hey, does anyone know what RISE stands for? Gingerly, maybe a couple of hands go up saying, I don't think it stands for anything. I said, that's the right answer. It is a word, it's not an acronym. So, what exactly is the RISE vision, right? So now we get into the components, starting to kind of unwrap or peel the layers of that onion. So firstly, the goal for SAP. So what do we want our customers to get out of RISE, right? To be an intelligent, innovative, sustainable enterprise. And the components that will help them get there. Let's start with the one at the bottom, right? That's the foundational infrastructure layer, right? So in this overall offering that we have for you, customers have the option of choosing their hyperscaler partners, such as Google Cloud. There's certain instances where we also offer the SAP data centers as the hyperscaler or infrastructure layer. On top of that, we have the business technology platform. How many of you here are familiar with BTP? Very good, about 50%. So BTP is our technology nerve center, right? It is what brings all the technical pieces together. It is that foundation, the technology foundation on which your this platform of innovation is built. It is where you're going to do your application development, your extensions, your data management, the artificial intelligence, and did I miss out anything? I think, yeah, I covered all the different components, yes. So that's where BTP comes to picture. The layer here, Cloud ERP, right? That is our S/4HANA cloud solution. That's the functional business core of RISE. And on top of that, the icing on the cake, you have the best practices, right? Line of business best practices that you can leverage straight out of the box. So the goal, so what is the ultimate purpose, right? What do we want customers to be able to do in a very strategic way? We want, with RISE, our goal is that customers should be continuously be able to improve their top lines, bottom lines, and green lines by constantly innovating, right? The continuous improvement is also part of our one of the goals that we have. In that, with all of that we provide here, it provides customers with the opportunity to continuously fine-tune, keep looking at their business processes, right? Look for opportunities to improve, to become more efficient, right? And last but not least, to have that trusted relationship with your partner. And by partner, I don't just mean SAP, because even though SAP will be the primary partner, but we have a huge ecosystem of partners such as the one we have here, for example. Wipro is Shiram from Wipro. I don't see him here. But anyway, we have over 20,000 ecosystem partners, right? So the whole idea is that along with RISE, you have the commitment of SAP and its partners throughout your cloud journey, right? Entire cloud journey, that you can depend on them, right? At any point of time, at all times, right? To ensure your success. Okay. Did you want to add anything?
You're good.
No. All right. So transformation and journeys and all these things, these are big undertakings, right? Big words, big phrases. So why should you trust SAP with this responsibility, right? So let's try and understand. Look at some of these stats here. The first one is the one that comes as a surprise to a lot of people, that today we are the world's #1 cloud applications vendor. And the reason for that is that over the last many years, we have grown both organically as well as inorganically, right? So that means that we have strong cloud credentials. So when we talk about the cloud, it's not just a pie in the sky idea for us, right? We have actually demonstrated that we are truly committed to the cloud. And therefore, we also want our customers, all our customers, right, to take that journey. So our solutions cover a lot of countries, every single industry you can imagine. Now, 25, right? Is that a magic number? No, but it's just a grouping. It could be 20, 27, but essentially we cover every major industry. Now look at this. These two stats kind of should be taken side by side. It's very interesting and raises eyebrows because even though we have 440,000 customers that run one or more SAP solutions, 350,000 of those are mid-market customers, right? Comes as a shock because the traditional view of SAP is that SAP solutions, software and solutions, they're a good fit only for the largest organizations. But this number explodes that myth. But what does it also tell you? Over the past few years, as we have increasingly taken organizations to the cloud, it has become easier for the mid-market to adopt our solutions, making it easy, making the barriers to entry, or lowering the barriers to entry. That's what this number means. And then talking about ecosystem partners, this is a big number. And this is across the spectrum. Whether we're talking about products, whether we're talking about services, we are very, very aligned, right? In close collaboration with our partners to ensure customer success. And here's another big number, 6.4 billion. Why is that important? This shows the commitment that we have to making sure that we continuously innovate our solutions, right? Our state of the art. And 6.4 billion is how much we spent in 2022 in R&D. That was our R&D spend, a lot of which went into AI, RPA, machine learning, all these technologies. Obviously, cloud was central to that. And this is the last stat I'm going to share here, very, very important. Sustainability is not simply a buzzword for us, right? Look at the number of companies, right, that run SAP, right? 97 of the 100 greenest companies run SAP, and internally, we have instituted a lot of steps to make sure that we ourselves run as a green company. So just to kind of bring things full circle in terms of what we have when we talk about RISE. I talked about each of these components a little earlier, I think a couple of slides ago. I just want to delve for maybe a couple of minutes into each of these, right? So the cloud ERP component is also, think of it as your S/4HANA cloud, right? So that's your ERP core. Business process transformation. So as I said, customers should not take this transformation as simply a lift and shift operation. That's why we call it transformation, right? We don't call it an upgrade or something like that. So we provide capabilities that help customers understand how good or how bad, how deficient their business processes are running, right? We have a business transformation suite called Signavio, right? You probably heard about Signavio. So that will help get that information for you, and not just extract that information, but provide guidance, right, on how you can improve your business processes. So you are not starting from a blank slate, nor do you have to just stick to the way you're doing things today. This layer is the one that I spoke about earlier, which is the foundational, the infrastructure layer. Outcome-driven services, earlier Jim talked about, both of us talked about the technical debt stuff and how SAP helps you kind of jettison technical debt with outcome-driven services. For example, we have things that help you understand what amount of customizations do you have, right? For example, custom code analyzer is a good example of that, right? It will dive deep into your system, come back with the information about what is it that you can standardize, right? Maybe there are some customizations that can completely go away because the corresponding capability is available in S/4HANA standard, right? So these are just an example. There's many more outcome-driven services. Do you want to add any to that?
Yeah, I can talk to that right before we go to the next slide.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So let me just peel the onion back just a little bit more and talk about services versus products. So RISE is a service that encompasses a few products: BTP, Signavio, and Cloud ERP. So first of all, the product, the main ERP is S/4HANA. It has been around since 2014, 2015. The 2023 release of S/4HANA that's coming out now is the pinnacle release for us. We have exceeded full parity of the functionality in ECC. So there is no more, we're catching up with ECC functionality. It is in S/4HANA. To that point, we've even extended out our release cycles instead of every year, every now few years with feature packs going on. The product is stable, the product is being adopted, and the product is mature. With outcome-driven services and things we talked about, there's some commercial benefits to RISE. First of all, we've done away with the whole named user license when you go to the cloud. You're a professional user, a shop user, a developer user. We've gone to what we call a full use equivalent, which has multipliers, meaning one full use equivalent can be used by 30 employees at the base level, and then 5, and then 1, the right multipliers. Within more of the outcome-driven services, when we bring you to the hyperscaler of your choice, preferably Google Cloud kind of stuff, out of the box, we offer technical managed services. So think from the operating system database down. We manage all that, single SLA. There's no pointing to the hyperscaler, pointing to us, getting all that managed. All of that, users, subscription to the software, SLAs of the thing, all under one subscription. So when we talk about moving from CapEx to OpEx, we're making it much easier to do business with SAP. I want to add more users. I don't need to have a contracting event and get my sales rep involved to buy more users. I can just reallocate based on those ratios we've talked about before. Now, let me talk about how do we get companies there. So transformation is a big word. I don't even like using the word transformation, but a lot, the where we are since S/4HANA is now is about, since 2015, 8 years old. Our adoption curve right now, I'd say we're at the later adopters, dare I say, laggards that are ready to go over to S4. And it spans the reasons on why they go. Either it's just not in their timeline right now, they don't see the value of it because ECC works fine. There's a lot of them. But the worst one that I run into with customers is, well, end of mainstream maintenance for ECC is 2027, so I guess I have to go. That's horrible because there are more opportunities to innovate your business. And so what I do and my team is we get involved with them and we take a look at, Anurag mentioned it, what are all your custom objects that you've had in your environment since 1999? Because either functionality was missing or you had a certain acquisition, you need to do something. We can analyze all that for you and say, here's all these objects, you haven't even used them in 10 years, get rid of them. Here's this series of objects that, you know what? This can be replicated with standard out-of-the-box software now in S4. Here's this smaller set of objects that are left, that are unique to you, that are differentiating. It's the way you go to market. It's the way you sell, the way you manufacture. We need to keep those. We can keep those in the private cloud environment. We keep those extensions in the BTP environment to keep you unique in terms of what we're doing. So I look for areas to build value. I like to walk into customers right away and just say, what's your biggest pain point? ECC works. Anurag had this slide up there of the stats. 50 years of business. We work. Is ECC easy to look at? Is it easy to report against? Not always. But, what are your biggest problems you have, Mr. IT? Is like, writing a report, spinning off a divestiture, trying a new product line, flexibility and nimbleness. We help to build that value case of where you want to go and what value you're going to see. And then we'll start to peel the onions back. Like, you're an on-premise customer and you want to go to the cloud. Oh my gosh, I'm giving up control of all my basis and ABAP. No, you're not. That we still need basis. We still need ABAP. We still need that in-house support, what we want to do. How do we move forward to it? How do I do it without, I don't have my hands on the environment anymore. What do I do? I have NS2 or ITAR and cloud sovereignty issues. We can handle all that. We can discuss all that. And then we talk about oh my gosh, where do I start? And so part of these services and deliverables is we will work with you to identify the value case, identify suggested adoption. Do you want to start by product line? Do you want to start by revenue? Do you want to start by country? Where do you want to start this change? Do you want to do full greenfield and just go straight out of the box and get rid of all my bad habits? Do I want to come over and do brownfield and then come over in segments? Do I want to do data transfer stimulus? There's all these things. Each one of these steps is what we call our customer value assessment or our vision to value program that my team leads, but I bring enterprise architects, solution architects, and value engineers to help you understand all these technical and business tracks for the value, the technology, how does it work, how do I let you take control of my TMS or AMS in terms of what we're doing, and how do I begin to adopt it? And this whole service is free. My team does it, we engage, it's not a paid service at SAP, but to help you understand what you're getting into to begin to adopt this cloud mentality and ultimately delivering ERP as a cloud service. So it's working. So as I said, S4HANA has been around since 2014, 2015. RISE has been around since the little Q1 of 2021. Right now, over 3,800 individual customers are hosted in a hyperscaler on a RISE platform right now. Now, each of those customers probably has multiple instances and multiple environments, and I think the number of systems under management from our SAP Enterprise Cloud Managed Service is over 10,000 different instances right now, and we are literally adding in the order of 100 to 120 per month instances are going up. So the traction is there, and it's happening. So, why SAP and why Google? So here's a screenshot of our big event, Sapphire, when Christian and Thomas were meeting and what they're doing and what kind of partnership do we have. I think the very first one, the most important one, is that Alphabet runs on S4HANA. So just think of the revenue and the expanse of Alphabet across all their divisions. They run on a single instance of S4HANA right now. And they're going through the program and the finance transformation they're doing and bringing multiple programs into there. And they are probably one of our best references. And they actually host at their facility and talk about how they're moving everything into a single environment. You heard a lot yesterday about the duets and what we're doing. And I think, in the next slide here, how do we partner together? So you saw S4HANA, and it sits on top of our technology platform, BTP. So when we talk about adopting standard technology and adopting and even making your customizations to keep you unique, we throw out a phrase a lot called the clean core. So what does that mean? So what the clean core means is you can extend your environment. You can add differentiating functionality that is not out of the box. You can customize the environment to keep you differentiating. You do it in the BTP layer down there for where our extensions and our integrations are all done, keeping the core ERP clean, the clean core. What does that afford you? Think about upgrades. Think about nimbleness. When you put a new feature pack in, a new service pack, you do something else, we don't eliminate it, but almost nil regression testing now. It's standard. It just goes in. There's a great, I think they're here actually, reference story in terms of Levi Strauss that They were on S4. They just went to S4 as is and built all their customizations in S4. First feature pack, I think the upgrades just was days, weekends down, days kind of stuff. When they finally moved all their customizations out that they need and put them in the layer down there, it was minutes. And I've heard like 17 minutes, up, done, tested, off and running. So it's that clean core kind of thing that helps you stay nimble, helps you stay flexible. So when I go to my IT leaders and say, hey, what's your biggest problem? Like, we're gonna divest the company, or we're just gonna make an acquisition and we're gonna do something. I need to move quick. It's the clean core that helps you do that. And the clean core that sits on BTP. BTP is where we will talk to Google. BTP, there was a session yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but the way that we manage our data and pair it up with BigQuery. Also, the BTP layer is where we will interface with Google AI and everything you've seen. So the Duet and the workspace that is all built into S4. So in the SAP strategy in AI is that we are absolutely going to explore it. We're going to leverage the GCP Google tools and what we're doing. But our context and focus on AI is business process, business focus. And that's where we stay. Now, if you want to have an AI infrastructure or a question that goes outside business and talks to external sources or do something else, that's why we're going to partner with Google. Leverage our best-in-class business knowledge and business processes, marry it with the Google ecosystem, intelligent world stuff to come together, is that pairing of getting AI for business purposes and then AI for everything that we're seeing going around here. So I think that is it. Now, did our friend join us? No.
Yeah, so we have, thank you, Jim. As you can imagine, there's a lot of customer success stories, so it's often quite hard to just pull a few, but we do have one, and we're very lucky to have a very trusted partner of ours, Wipro, that's going to present their Rise with SAP on Google Cloud success story. And for that, I would like to invite Sriram on stage. He'll introduce himself. And then I have a few more, I would say, shorter success stories. Oh, microphone. No, take.
Thank you. Yep, so I'm Sriram Sampath. I've been with Wipro for 18 and a half years, all in all SAP. So this is an interesting story, okay? So we are one of the largest SAP customer. We were on ECC since long. 2018 is when we started working on the S4 journey. We were on Suit on HANA, then we moved on to S4 on 1809, and then we thought we'll meet a hyperscaler and start working on the cloud journey. So that was 2021-22. And last year, we signed a RISE deal with SAP on GCP, and we were the first SI in the world to do that, number one. Number two, the main features of the deal were simplicity, scaling, security, and innovation. So one simple contract with SAP and Google, one single neck to choke to get everything done for availability. Security layer was built on all the layers, application layer, infra layer, any layer. And the best one was scalable model, where the industry is changing so fast that we were able to get the platform for our choice with SAP as the application layer and build our 250,000 people on this platform without any issues. That was a success story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sriram. Any questions for Sriram on their, or I guess we can take it at the...
Last but not the least, TCO reduction. Really great contract.
Okay, so I have a couple more here. So just take a look. Inchcape. So Inchcape is in the automotive industry, and it's fairly large, 15,000 employees, and it's about revenue of close to 8 billion euros, right? And so one of the recurring themes you'll see with these success stories are the drivers are kind of similar, right? There's obviously, every customer has its own needs, but you will see a common pattern. And the challenges, as you can see, where Inchcape wanted to streamline operations, be more responsive, They also wanted to provide a very, very seamless customer experience. And then you see the final bullet, which is also goes back to the talent attraction shortage realm, right? They wanted to have their IT staff focus on more innovative, automated, smart technologies than just doing the mundane stuff, right? The repetitive stuff. And so they chose RISE with SAP. And I'm not going to read from the slide, but you can see that Chief Digital Officer, what he says about it, right? This will provide an enhanced customer experience, right? And will help them grow their business. And here are the reason it's kind of looks like a collage out here is because these came in different kind of formats, but Energizer Holdings requires very little introduction, right? The bunny and all that kind of stuff. Of course, they always need energy, right? And RISE with SAP will provide them with that energy to constantly keep growing, right? And you can see the words of their CIO, right? Why they chose RISE and how it has helped them. TELUS is a very large communications technology company based out of Canada. It's got $18 billion in annual revenue and also about 18 million connections, right? Customer connections. And again, you can, we don't have a quote here, but they went with RISE with SAP on Google Cloud. And they are also, now look at the last part of this. This goes back to this whole partnership we're talking about, right? With Cortex and BigQuery, right? So they want to leverage the platform, right? And all the SAP capabilities that sit atop that platform. We have one more, GFT, which is basically a company that helps digital transformation for financials and insurance sectors. So they also have a similar success story. And then the last one is a big IT services firm called Birlasoft. And they also carried out, I think that one is probably similar to the Wipro story. They wanted to carry out a transformation in their organization. And they chose RISE with SAP because of all the capabilities that RISE provides, right? Because for them, for consulting companies especially, it is the human resources are the biggest assets, right? So they want their workforce to be able to work on cutting edge technology, right? So that they are ready to meet their customers' needs. And that's what RISE has provided them. So these are some success stories that speak for themselves. And then we would like to actually wrap things up.
So I think we said everything we want to say. I want to leave a few minutes for questions and kind of stuff, but RISE, again, program, S/4HANA, our core ERP solution and what we're doing. And again, even though we have transformation in here, sometimes a big scary word, but we are helping companies adopt the cloud mentality, use the cloud as a business and innovation technology tool and innovator. And again, future, just think of ERP as a cloud service. I want to download MRP, I want to download procure to pay, and I want to use it in terms of what we're doing. Take a look at the RISE program and how we're helping customers, again, like this concierge service, like how to step into it, how to ramp up getting into it, how to become a cloud company, and how to do it with one hand, one SLA, one subscription price to all make it easier for you in terms of what we're doing. We've talked a lot about the Google and SAP partnership. I'm really excited to see how it goes forward. Again, I talked about the scope of the SAP AI in sales, relevant, reliable, and responsible in the business context of AI. Anything outside that, BigQuery, big data, everything else, we're working with Google to do that. And then lots of customers and lots of traction, and somebody's Wipro. One thing, it doesn't have the slide here, but I'll be remiss in mentioning, if any of your companies or anything else are unfamiliar with S4, maybe just read some blogs and those kinds of things, we actually have a service, we call it customer value exploration. It is actually a live session of S4HANA, and we can host these sessions virtually, and we invite 10, 20 companies, bring 3 or 4 people. It's a preset environment. It's a preset business scenario, like a marketing or a distribution or some kind of quick environment. So it may not be your industry, but you're going to be given a budget, and you're going to have to build some product, ship it, sell it, build invoices and everything else. The intent of the program is to get you interacting with S4HANA. So again, may not be your industry, but you're looking at the UI, you're looking at what we call the insight to action, you make a decision and the analytics are immediately updated. It brings in some of the machine learning, it brings in some of the RPA things just to introduce you to these technologies. And then just to make it fun, because we do it virtually across multiple companies, we make it a game. We're like, hey, Verizon's on here, and Anheuser-Busch is on here, and Halliburton's on here, and Anheuser-Busch did the best, and they win. It's 90 minutes. If you're interested, I'll get your card or something. That we publish a schedule of when we go out there. Get involved in it, go see it. It lets you actually touch and drive the system and see the things of S4 to go, oh, okay. We've had great success in using it and not only just introducing it to customers, but when customers do large implementation projects and we're ready for the go live, we reintroduce it to the user base to say, this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to see. And it helps build alignment, support, and everything going forward. So, and if you're really interested in it, I think I use the cutoff. If I can get 12 to 15 individuals from one company, we'll bring the game to you. We'll do it in your facility, and we'll do it. And again, all this is at no cost. So think of customer value exploration. You can find that even on our website, or I can give you information on it. But with that, any questions?
Actually, I want to add one final word, just to emphasize, you don't need to be a current SAP customer, right? That's a very important message that I want to send. You could be running any software, any combination of software, doesn't matter, right? If this stokes your curiosity, as Jim mentioned, right? Do not curb your interest just because you're not a current SAP customer. Secondly, as you saw in those numbers, you don't have to be a very large company. We have companies of the size of 12, 15 people today that are running SAP. It's hard to believe. But so do not let your size constrain your interest, right? If you're interested, you can come to us. There's many ways we can make this work.
80% of our customers are under $1 billion in revenue.
Right.
80%.
80%.
And it's a large percentage are under 500 million revenue. It's just that you only hear about the big ones. So, thank you for your time. Enjoy.
Thank you, everyone.